and gentlemen, back to the show. It is the FMB Women's Super League Highlight Show presented by Mass TV and powered by FMB. My name is Emmanuel Nkora, and of course, I am joined by my two co-hosts, Lydiana and Brenda. How are you guys doing today?
We're doing absolutely lovely. It's wonderful to be back once again and just highlight on what the Women's Super League has brought this the past weekend.
It feels fantastic to be back to talk about all things women, all things football. So I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah, there's a new vibe of women's football now. Looking at the games and all the people at the stadium, were there more people at the stadiums now that the Brave Gladiators won the games, or how did you see it?
Yeah, I think it's not just the fact that the Gladiators won COSAFA, but I think also the competitiveness of the league is starting to attract more people, and this is what we want to see. So the numbers are coming, people are coming to watch beautiful football, and it is lovely to see that.
Yeah, no, it's good. And Brenda, did you have a chance to go look at any of the games?
When it comes to what Must TV is actually doing, it's exceptionally well because a lot of people have been following us on the socials and saying, you know what, it's actually time for me to go and watch. Even though you can't make it via online, we are available on all platforms. I think what we're doing here is putting the females in the forefront, and that is exceptionally amazing because now the ladies are, looking at what they're doing and how they're wearing and how they're presenting themselves. So I think we're doing an exceptional job.
Yeah, it's a different thing when there's a camera on you watching every single touch. So very well done. Now let's get into the highlights. Saturday were the first round of games, and it was, here are the results. It was FC Ongos defeating Unam Bokis. A lot to talk about there. Big result there. Jelinho ladies defeating Arrows. Oh, no, actually being defeated by Arrows. Arrows getting their first victory of the season 2-1. Windhoek City was defeated 1-0 by African Stars. Mighty Gunners doing what they do, beating the other mighty team 6-0. And V-Power Angels defeating Desert Foxes 1-0. And Komas Nampo putting a positive stance on their goal difference, defeating Nast 5-1. So, we have the highlights of the FC Ongos versus UNAM game and the Jelinho Athletic Ladies versus the Arrows game. So let's talk about the other games that we do not have the highlights for. Mighty Gunners versus Mighty Angels, V-Power versus Desert Foxes, and Nast versus Komas Nampo. Lydiana, for you, out of those results, which one kind of stood out for you?
I think it's the emphatic win of the champions. Beating Mighty Angels 6 goals to nothing, just goes to show the dominance that they have, the experience that they're bringing to the table. And also they have quite a number of players, 6 players that came from COSAFA recently. And, they're coming with that energy of being champions. And, this is the stage in the league where the cream rises, this is where the top players rise. And that is what Mighty Gunners ladies displayed this past weekend against Mighty Angels.
Yeah, an incredible result. Lina Owendu scoring 2 goals. She had 2 assists as well. But the woman of the match was actually given to Unanjemo Katavi for her defensive displays. So, well done to Mighty Gunners. And of course, a clean sheet to Melissa Matthews. And for Brenda, which result stood out for you then?
I would say Nast Babes against, the Comas Nampo. If you have to be honest, it's veterans against newbies per se, right? If you have to say it like that. But kudos to Nast Babes as well, scoring at least 1 goal against the OGs. And if you have to look at what stood out for me in that game, a goalkeeper actually scored, and she's the first, in this entire league. So you'd actually say, wow, congrats, And she also did have she also assisted in another goal, So kudos to her. She did an amazing job, and she actually is putting us on the map with this because now someone has to come and watch this episode, and you hear that a goalkeeper scored from her pit to the next pit. You'll be like, what is really going on with the Namibian female sports?
Yeah, that was goalkeeper Nangolo scoring a goal and having assist in that game. 5-1 was the result for Komas Napo. Now, let's actually have the highlights of the 2 games that we had on that Saturday. And those were the highlights of the two games, FC Ongos versus Unambokis and Delinho Athletic versus Arrows Ladies. Now, ladies, Brenda, we will actually have to talk about that first game, which is FC Ongos versus Unambokis. Finally, the Bokis have suffered a defeat.
I mean, the streak has finally come to an end, if we have to say that per se. But what stood out to me was that a penalty was scored, by a boy to Melo, and this shows that how powerful FC Ongos is, because their hero shows that this is our cup, we're coming to take it. And to Unambokes, I'd say, what really went wrong? Where did you guys go wrong? I mean, your streak has been ongoing, and when we're so close to saying there is a chance of you guys winning, you just come and show that, you know what, maybe they're tired.
Yeah, it's always an issue when you go on a long streak and then you find yourself finally losing your game. What happens to the coach? What happens to the morale of the team? Do you crumble, or do you know how to suffer a defeat and get back on your feet? So we will obviously see UNAM what happened on the Sunday games. For those people watching now, they obviously suffered another defeat on Sunday. So do you think it's time that UNAM are crumbling, or will they get back on their feet?
There's a 50-50% chance. Either you crumble or you're going to get on your feet. But this is when the coaches have to instill that mindset into their players that, listen, we lost. It doesn't mean the cup is not ours. At the end of the day, it's let's work harder, let's push harder, and also let's just instill that positive mindset. Still own the game as if you didn't lose. The streak is still ongoing, because the minute you tell someone you've lost, in their mindset or in their head, they're not going to come back. So it's the coach to come and do the work. And even amongst the players, even the captain has to push this ongoing streak into their mindset so that they can come back bigger and better.
Yeah, that's good advice. And Lydiana, Arrows finally getting their first win of the season against Jalino.
I think I must start by saying this match was so dramatic. When we're talking about drama in football, this is what this match embodied. Arrows ladies, obviously coming into this match, they had the hardest season that they've had. You know, Arrows is a team that is constantly competing. It's one of your top 5 teams when we are looking at the leagues. Time and time again, they show up. But this season has been so sad to see how they've been crumbling, and they really needed the 3 points. So I think they brought their A game to this match. While they got a penalty, and they scored through a penalty. But then I must congratulate Asteria, showing up every single time with a mental strength, trying to carry a team. She managed to score in the dying minutes of the match. And now it was up to Arrows ladies to decide whether or not they were going to give away the 2 points that they were actually planning on collecting with the 1 point, or they were going to share the spoils. So I think Arrows ladies gained a lot of courage, and then just 2 minutes after Asteria's equalizer, they were able to put one back at the net. And Hope always showing up, and Hope is one of the youngest players in this league. But when she plays with so much maturity. And, Arrows ladies is actually lucky to have a player like Hope. She's enthusiastic. She's so lethal when it comes to the attack, and a very crucial part of the Arrows team. And she came to the party, and that is what we want to see from players. I think Arrows scored a great victory there against Julino Athletic ladies to secure those 3 points.
Yeah, a very important 3 points, it must be said. So those were the highlights. Now let's get the views of the FC Ongos assistant coach, Coach Sunny.
Not 100%, though we said we shouldn't consider it all, because now where we are, we're at the crucial stage of the league. I mean, we are concluding tomorrow, so we don't need to slip up. And the message was already to say we don't drop points until we start off again second leg. They have a fighting spirit. I can say they have a very strong personality, which we all know, because these girls are winners already by birth. That's why you see they always fight like that to make sure the winner to get away with a point. Not really, we don't want to ask for more, but the thing is that we are currently now second, but we want to top the log stand, but we still points that we need to fight for. We are still going to watch the next match, and hoping that the points or the game goes in our favor. but we don't really want to rely on teams to do us favors and whatnot. We are just going to take our game serious and take it one by one in making sure that we end up top.
And that was Coach Sunny on his team's victory against Unambokis on Saturday. So that was the games on Saturday. Stay tuned as we will see the games on Sunday. This is the FNB Women's Super League highlight show. Stay tuned.
It is finally here, a way to save together. FNB WeSave account allows families, friends, and communities to save together using the FNB app, cell phone banking, online banking, or ATM deposit.
We are saving for my education. I want to study at the best university.
FNB WeSave allows 3 to 90 people to save together towards a goal.
Yes, Shiri, we are saving to prepare our homestead for our children and our grandchildren.
Everyone is able to see when a deposit or withdrawal is made and how much.
No, this year there is a big wedding coming and all of us are going to contribute to our WeSave account.
It is simple, secure, and transparent.
Our friend is retiring and we want to celebrate her and give her something special. I made my contribution at the ATM.
Different dreams, different ways to deposit, the best way to save together. Open your FNB WeSave account at an FNB branch today and experience an easier and quicker way to reach your goals together.